The research station on Valora 7 hummed with the quiet efficiency of scientific discovery. Dr. Ren Alaris stood before the observation window, watching the wolf-like creatures in their habitat with barely contained excitement. After 3 years of studying the Valoran predators, she had finally cracked their communication system, or so she thought. The pack leader, Karith, was magnificent. His silver-black fur rippled with bioluminescent patterns that shifted with his moods, and his 6 eyes gleamed with an intelligence that had drawn xenolinguists from across the galaxy. The university had sent Dr. Alaris specifically because of her controversial theory that Valoran wolves possessed a language complexity rivaling human speech. What she hadn't expected was that the cubs could speak actual human language. It started 3 weeks ago. Dr. Alaris had been running her standard phonetic analysis when one of the younger wolves, barely past weaning age, had approached the reinforced barrier. Its throat had vibrated in a way that seemed anatomically impossible, and then it spoke. "Help us." Dr. Alaris had nearly dropped her datapad. She'd run every diagnostic, checked for audio contamination, reviewed the footage 100 times. But there it was, a Valoran cub speaking standard galactic with perfect pronunciation. She'd kept it secret. In xenobiology, premature announcements could destroy careers. But more importantly, something in the cub's eyes, a desperate knowing fear, had made her hesitate. So she'd returned night after night, after the other researchers had gone to their quarters, and she'd listened. The cubs had learned human language by listening to the researchers. Their neural plasticity far exceeded anything in the scientific literature. While Karith and the other adults communicated through their complex system of howls, scent markers, and bioluminescent displays, the young ones had been secretly absorbing every human word spoken near their enclosure, and they had a story to tell. "Karith is not our father," a cub named Six whispered one night, pressing close to the barrier. "He killed the old pack leader. He killed our real parents." Dr. Alaris felt her blood run cold. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because humans understand rebellion," another cub, Vera, said softly. "We have listened to your history lessons, your wars, your revolutions. You fight tyrants." Over the following nights, the cubs revealed the truth about Valoran pack dynamics. Karith had taken control through violence, eliminating any wolf strong enough to challenge him. He kept the pack through fear, through strategic culling of potential rivals before they matured. The adults were too indoctrinated, too beaten down to resist. But the cubs remembered their parents. And they had learned something Karith never could have anticipated, that intelligence without tyranny was possible. They had learned it from watching humans. "We have a plan," Six said during their 5th secret meeting. "But we need your help." Dr. Alaris should have refused. She should have reported this to the research director, followed protocol, maintained scientific objectivity. But she'd spent her entire career studying how language shaped civilization, how communication built societies. And here, right in front of her, language was about to topple a dictatorship. "Tell me," she said. The plan was elegant in its simplicity. The cubs had been practicing adult vocalizations in secret, mimicking the complex howls that established pack hierarchy. During the upcoming feeding cycle, when all the wolves would be gathered, the cubs would simultaneously challenge Karith using the ancient ritual calls, something that had never happened in recorded Valoran history. Multiple challenges at once would confuse the established order. Dr. Alaris's role was simple but crucial: disable the habitat's audio dampeners at the exact right moment. The other researchers needed to hear what happened next, needed to witness the intelligence these creatures possessed. If the cubs succeeded, if they demonstrated the capacity for organized resistance, it would prove they were sapient beings, not animals to be studied, but people to be protected. The night came. Dr. Alaris sat at her console, heart hammering, finger hovering over the dampener controls. Through the observation window, she watched Karith swagger into the feeding area, his bioluminescent patterns pulsing with arrogant dominance. The cubs moved into position. Six caught Dr. Alaris's eye and gave an almost imperceptible nod. She hit the button. The habitat exploded with sound. 13 young voices rose in perfect unison, their challenge howls interweaving in a harmony that spoke of coordination, of planning, of society. Karith froze, his 6 eyes wide with shock. This wasn't supposed to be possible. Cubs didn't challenge. Cubs didn't coordinate, but these cubs had learned from humanity. Kareth lunged at the nearest cub, Vera, but the others moved as one. They'd studied pack tactics from the station's military history archives. They'd watched footage of Earth wolves hunting in coordinated strikes. They used Kareth's own instincts against him, drawing him into overextended attacks, exhausting him with feints and repositioning. The adult wolves watched in confusion. Some moved to help Kareth, but others, those who remembered the old ways, who carried scars from his reign, held back. Researchers poured into the observation room, drawn by the cacophony. Dr. Alaris heard their shocked exclamations, saw them scrambling to record everything. "They're coordinating," someone breathed. "That level of tactical planning, they're sapient," Dr. Alaris said quietly. "They've always been sapient." Kareth fell. Not dead, the cubs showed mercy their pack leader never had, but defeated, broken, his bioluminescent patterns dimming to submissive gray. Six stepped forward, young but steady, and released a howl that resonated with authority tempered by something Valora 7 had never known: justice. The adults responded, one by one, their lights shifting from fearful green to accepting blue. Later, after the emergency council meetings, after the habitat was reclassified as a diplomatic zone, after everything changed, Dr. Alaris returned to the observation window. Six approached the barrier, no longer needing to hide. "Thank you," the young wolf said in perfect standard galactic, loud enough for everyone to hear, "for teaching us that there is another way." Dr. Alaris smiled, tears in her eyes. "You taught yourselves. You just needed to know it was possible." Six's bioluminescent patterns rippled with something that might have been a smile. Perhaps that is humanity's greatest gift. Not your technology or your strength, but your belief that tomorrow can be better than today. As Dr. Alaris watched the young wolves begin building their new society, she understood something profound. Language wasn't just about communication. It was about hope, about resistance, about the revolutionary idea that intelligence demanded freedom. The wolf cubs had learned to speak human language, but more importantly, they'd learned what it meant to be human. The courage to stand against tyranny, the wisdom to choose mercy over vengeance, and the faith that even the smallest voices united could change everything.